was 17 years old and I got my driver's license. My aunt owned a 1978 MGB and she just gave it to me. And that was my first car. And I felt so fortunate, and I loved that car, and it was the coolest car at the high school, and it started me down this path.
And you're driving an MGB now? Is this total brand loyalty, or have there been other cars on the way? So what's the trajectory from then to now?
I had that MG until I went to college, and I left it in my father's care, and that didn't work out so well. And he felt sorry about that. So he bought me another 1978 MGB. And that one had a bad ending a couple of years later at the top of a bridge with a cracked manifold. And my sister was in the car and we just glided down the bridge and we landed at a gas station and I left the car there and I never saw it again.
You rolled down the hill and left the car. You didn't like go off the bridge into a gas station. No.
This was relatively easy. Just glided down and life goes by. You know, you go to school and you get jobs and you move to Manhattan and you don't want any car, much less, you know, anything like an MG. But then, maybe 8 years ago, I was sitting with my uncle and he has a TR4 and he's the coolest guy in the world. And he said to me, "Jennifer, why don't you have an MG?" And I think it was just the way he asked, and it was the perfect moment. And I said, "I have no idea. You know, why don't I have an MG?" And that started the search, which took a couple of years. And so about 6 years ago, I bought this one, and you know, the thrill is back.
And you're driving this car since 6 years now?
Yes, yes.
Right, did you have like to do anything to it? Was it like the, yes, okay.
I did. I went for the test drive. You never forget how an MG feels and the sound that the engine was making. You know, did not have anything on, wasn't even speaking to my husband. I just drove it and listened to the engine. I said, okay, well, you know, I'll buy the car and then I'll drop it off at a shop and I'll see it a month or two later and it'll be terrific. And that's exactly right. So I swapped out the SUs, did a Weber carburetor conversion, tucked in some wires and changed some hoses. But to be honest with you, it wasn't so bad.
So you'll drive it more or less year round?
Yeah, unless there's water or salt.
You told me that you met Bob at one of those car events. How did you enter the car community?
It speaks volumes about the kindness of the people in these groups, sort of the meaning of community. I was at a car show right in my town, and this really nice guy walks up, and he's chatting with me about the car, and he says, well, if you'd like a glass of champagne, Car Club tent is right over there, you're invited. And I went over and I had a glass of champagne, and the next thing I knew I was being asked to the next dinner, and it was terrific. And they're very warm, very welcoming people, and everybody loves to talk about their cars. And I don't know a lot of people who love to talk about cars, so it was really fortuitous that I met that man.
The world we're living in is like very polarized on like many, many levels. But somehow the car community, there's something strange going on. There are a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds and cross sections and genders and ages and social levels, even religions, races, whatever. And they seem to be all getting along. Not only that, but they're kind of like all appreciate each other.
Yeah, agreed.
Can you speak a little bit towards that?
Yeah, I think you're right. Not to be too philosophical, but I think when you're around people who have a real passion for something like a car, it's an easy denominator, right? And so it becomes sort of like the olden days, right? Before there was so much noise in the air, so much polarizing noise, where you could be in a room with 50 people and everyone would have an opinion about something, but that was not why you were there. You were there to share your enthusiasm and your passion for something else. And that happens with car people, at least in my experience. We have such enthusiasm for our cars and for all of our friends' cars. We love to hear the weird little stories and, you know, the car origin stories, or like the unusual drive, or even when things go wrong. So I agree with you, and I think that's what's going on.
You obviously came out here today. You put some time aside, you pulled your car out. I don't know how clean it already was, or if you specifically cleaned it for this event.
A little. But I got some help from the guys out in front, too.
Right. You made an effort to be here. We're doing this in order to support some charities. And I know this is like a little bit sprung on people, but I'm kind of like asking everybody if they had thoughts of maybe what we could do in addition, in order to, you know, kind of like mobilize the community to do something for people which are like right now have problems.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering if you had thought about this.
So yes, I do think there's more. I think that there are a lot of people who are so willing to share with the community, and I think that, you know, perhaps, you know, more gatherings that are socially distanced. I frankly love the distraction of going for a lovely drive and then showing up someplace and having this, you know, these car conversations with people. I think people are looking to gather. They're looking to be with one another in a way that's safe. We can't forget really young people. It's a really tough time for kids as well. And to give them something so normal and so exciting and so hopeful as to, you know, to talk to a bunch of people who are passionate about their thing. And in my case, it's my car. And I'll also say for little kids, especially little girls who don't have a lot of opportunity to, you know, see it, what frankly is a very simple machine, but the fact that it, you know, it's a manual drive, and that it, you know, it's so frankly adorable, and, you know, to have a chat with a 7-year-old girl about, you know, my car, and about, you know, have you ever thought getting a car yourself, and what kind of car do you think you'll get when you're older? You know, it's just, it's fun, and it's a simple thing, and it's delightful.
So what you're suggesting is kind of like organize taking young people, kids maybe specifically, or teenagers for drives. Like, I mean,
Sure.
like on purpose, to say
Yes.
like, okay, we gotta like spread the word, we gotta like share the experience. And the
Yes.
only way you can experience is like, you know, come get on the seat over here.
Yeah, I think that would be terrific. And again, it's a simple thing, but it's very fun, and it's very hopeful. And even if it's a little drop in the bucket, still put a smile on someone's face that day. So absolutely.